but he will never do it to players who actually deserve it, like Matt Skura, Alejandro Villanueva. Like those players, he won't ever, no matter what they do, no matter how bad they. What is going on, Ravens flock? My name is Drastic, and I want to welcome you guys back to another video on our YouTube channel, Flock and Ravens. And on today's video, we're going to be doing episode 2 of I'm Reloaded.
Okay,
For those of you guys that don't know what this is, it's pretty much a series of episodes that we do where we break down certain topics that have to do, that we find throughout social media. Anything that has to do with either Ravens or other football teams, mainly football stuff, right? And on today's episode, we're going to be breaking down a video that the Baltimore Ravens released in their YouTube account. Well, other social media platforms. I think they have it on the app, the Ravens app, the YouTube, and podcast, and all of that. But anyways, they did an interview on OBJ. They interviewed OBJ, and a bunch of the reporters started asking him all these questions. And as many of you guys see on the title of this video, Jamison Hensley decided to ask this crazy question where he was clearly out of pocket. And this isn't the first time he does this. At least with other players, he's done this multiple times because his name has circled around the media, social media, around the flock, not in a positive way, but many times in a very negative way, right? So this isn't the first time we hear about Jamison Hensley just being out of pocket. I'm going to play the video for you guys, and afterwards we're going to break it down, and I'm going to ask you guys, what's your opinion and all of that, okay? So with that being said, let's begin.
Reloaded.
One more, please.
Odell, the last two times you've gone against the Bengals,
It's like he already
has
knew.
resulted in injury. I don't know. Are you superstitious about things like that?
Nah, but I would. It's crazy you bring it up, but
That is crazy.
last you're right. Resulted in injury, so one in injury and one in the Super Bowl. So, I'm good with that.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
All right. So let's break down this video, right? We honestly can't even say that we're shocked at this point because this isn't the first time that we hear Jamison Hensley do something like this, right? He does this all the time, but he knows who to do it with. Like he has certain players that he's constantly attacking, right? But he will never do it to players who actually deserve it, like Matt Skura, Alejandro Villanueva. Like those players, he won't ever, no matter what they do, no matter how bad they play, he'll never do that to them, ever. But he has no issue doing it to Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman, J.K. Dobbins, OBJ. He has no issues doing it to those players. But this is why a lot of fans in the flock have a big issue with him. Because the thing about him is that a lot of times he tries to throw the, what's the saying that goes, like says, they throw the stone and then they hide their hands. Like he does this all the time. He could get away with it maybe once, twice, where you can question it, like, oh, well, was that really what he was trying to do? So you kind of doubt yourself for even thinking that he's intentionally trying to like bash on one of the players' name, right? But after you do it a third time, fourth time, fifth time, like at that point, you're making it super obvious, right? And not only do the fans see this, but now it's getting to a point where the players can see it. Because even before he asked out his question, just look at OBJ's face. Here, the moment he saw where the question was coming from, like his whole face expression just changed, right? And when he responded to the question, like you could just see how shocked he was that he got asked this, right? Because that's just something that you don't expect to be asked. Like that's especially from reporters from your own team. Like that's crazy. Like that's something that should not happen, but it happens over and over. And the Ravens, they let it happen. And this is the part that for me, I don't know about everybody, but for me, it really irritates me that the Ravens do not protect our players, not only on the field, but at certain times off the field. Like in these interviews, post conference, whatever, our coaches sometimes, like they'll throw our players under the bus before they admit that, you know what, it was our fault. They do this all the time. Same with our with Eric DeCosta. He'll do this to all our players except say, you know what, I messed up, Harbs messed up, whatever. And they allow these reporters to bash our players, and they have no, like, I don't know, like they have no penalties, nothing. Like, this guy should have lost his job a long time ago. Like, zero questions about it. He should have lost his job a long time ago. But the Ravens let it happen time and time again. And I don't know if this is a thing that they do to try to bring down the value of the player, so that when Eric DaCosta has to get down in the table with him to negotiate a future contract, now there's this whole narrative out there about a player's injury or his production or whatever, right? I get all that, but the media does that already. Fox Sports, ESPN, Undisputed, Speak for Yourself, all of those shows, they already do that. So why do we need our own reporters to do what they're already doing? Like, I would understand if no one is doing it. I would completely understand, and this is a strategy that they use to kind of have more leverage when it comes to negotiating these players' contracts. But I'm telling you guys, everybody in the media of all those shows, they do this day in, day out, like all day long. That's all you hear. Lamar Jackson, like all his little flaws in the whole game, that's all they mention. They don't talk anything positive about Lamar, OBJ, J.K. Dobbins, all of our players, right? So anyways, let's get back to Jamison, right? I honestly could never say I ever enjoyed an interview or a question that he's ever asked. I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, every now and then, or we should give him another chance. He's not that bad. Maybe that's not what he meant. Like, no. I'm telling you guys, this is literally what he does time and time again, and we cannot accept it. We cannot applaud him for this, because I see on other channels, other people, like, I don't even follow this guy, to be honest with you guys. I don't follow this guy. I know he releases a lot of reports about the team, whatever. I'm not following him, because just what he represents, just what his clear intentions are, no reason. Like, this guy really needs to be let go. If you have that power, if you have that opportunity where you could speak to players, why waste your one question that you're able to ask on a question like that? Like, there's so many other things you could ask him, and you decide to ask that. Not just with OBJ, with other players too. Like, there is just so many questions like that as Ravens fans we have, right? And it doesn't get asked because, we understand, like, they each get one question. So they can't ask all the 40, 50 questions that we have, right? But sometimes they'll ask, especially this guy, he'll ask the craziest things that just doesn't make sense. Let me know down in the comment how you guys feel about this. Am I the only one that is tripping? Because like I said, I could understand if it's the first, second time. Like, you got to give them, the reason of doubt, right? You got to be like, all right, maybe this guy didn't mean that. Maybe he didn't mean it in that way, and we're just, being very uptight. That could be it, right? But he's a repeat offender. Like, he's done this over and over and over and over. And at this point, we know what his intentions are. So at what point do we sit down and say, you know what, this is enough? Like, this has to stop, right? Like, this is a reporter that is just asking these dumb questions that we just need to bring somebody else in, or just not even give him a voice. Because honestly, we could do so much without his question. Like, that's a question that we never needed to get an answer from. If I was OBJ, I would have just honestly been like, all right, next question. I wouldn't even acknowledge that question. Next question. Or looked away. So let me get back to his question though. Before I forget, yes, it's true. The last time he played the Bengals, he got injured, right? At the Super Bowl. But the last time he also played the Bengals at the Super Bowl, he got a ring. Why didn't you ask about that? Why do you gotta focus on the negative? Like, he got injured, but that ring is more important than that injury, because that's what we're all working towards this whole season, right? We're all trying to get to that ring. He got it. So why not ask him something else, like, what did you learn off that Super Bowl game that you could implement on this season? Or you could see that another player could do, or how different is the roster compared? Like, so many questions you could ask about his experience in the Super Bowl, because you're not asking him like other players that have been to the Super Bowl like 10 years ago, because we have a couple of those on our team, but they went to the Super Bowl 10 plus years ago. This guy literally went to the Super Bowl like 2 years ago. So it's very fresh, right? So he has a very recent experience. So ask about that instead, but you want to focus about his injury. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this question. If you guys are fed up with this or not, or if you guys think like this guy, maybe that's not what he meant, maybe he had good intentions behind that question, I really want to know. I really want to know if I'm the only one, or if you guys agree with me on this. But anyways, leave a comment down below. At the end of your comment, make sure to leave #FlockGame. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, because once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving away 2 tickets to the Bengals versus Raven game on November 16. It's going to be a night game. So make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share this channel with a family or friend, just anybody you know that may be a fan of the Ravens. Anybody that you know that may be wanting to get connected to the flock, let them know what's the channel to come to if they want to get connected with us. And with that, I'm going to see you guys on the next video.